Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Wednesday, July the 23rd, 2025, and today's topic, I'm going to wrap up the videos I've made about this page, sketch page, and I'm going to call it Growth Mindset for Drawing. And I'm going to put it in the Artist Life playlist, and I'm going to use the same technique. I did more work. I'll go over that in just a minute. But yeah, before we begin, welcome back if you're returning, and welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day, and I use a timer to stay focused, and to build a habit, I'll start a 10-minute timer. So I'll link to the other two videos. This is the third one. It's like a little mini series. And yeah, there's a lot more detail about using 1-minute timers and 5-minute timers, and these are just tricks and games, if you will. And as I do that, I'll sketch, but I worked on this for 30 minutes to get this look. And then right before I recorded this video, I did a 1-minute sketch and then a 5-minute to get this far. And it kind of looked like I drew this sort of randomly, and it kind of looked like it went with it. So now I'm picturing this character. I can picture his other hand being right here. This page, for example, kind of grew out of, like, organically out of just imagination. So yeah, I'll do like a 1-minute timer. So I want to do that because, so I'm picturing like his hand being like right here. And since I don't really know, since it's like a collage, I'm just going to do like the kind of the composition of it, the proportion of it. So I'm just kind of picturing something sort of like this. And this is like the gesture. Or maybe something kind of similar, sort of like this. So I'm not 100, so that's a minute. So I'm not 100% sure, like if that's going to work. Maybe it'll turn into something else. That's kind of what I mean, to be able to just come up with something. So I'll do like I'll set a 5-minute timer, and you don't have to use timers. This is just, again, it's like a trick. It's like a game that you can play. What if I wanted the hand to be like, so one thing I'll do is, what if I did the stick figure and then wanted the hand to be like right here, because of like the proportions and everything. So that could also work. So let's say that I actually want, now if you keep it sketchy enough, you can turn that into something else, or you could use a pencil. There's always that. So maybe right here. So this is a 5-minute timer. It could even be part of the magical effect, but we'll see. So this is one way to do the hand, by the way. It's more based upon the overall like pose, because I know that sometimes people talk about how their figures are too stiff, like there's not life in it. And this is like part of it, and you can always redraw it, or yeah, I mean, once you have the character, I don't really know what this character looks like. I'm still sort of designing it. But once you have the character, it's always easier to draw. And then also, you can always light box it if you want. So I'm going to go with this and then just do something else with that. This part, I'll figure something else out. So maybe because it kind of looks like he's casting a spell or whatever. But so that's one way to do the fingers. But the idea is that, let's say you need to do like hand studies, and in my figure drawing playlist, I do have that, by the way. There's exercises to draw the hand from. Part of it is sometimes you can use your own hand as reference, but then also if you're looking at photos to kind of break it down to something that you can figure out, like how to draw, kind of like here. So I've got about 1 minute left on this timer. And I would leave it. That's kind of what I mean. That's what the timers are for. So for example, with this one, I did like 15 minutes and then stepped away and then like another 15 minutes. I kind of wanted to do the shading like in today's video. But then I decided, well, I'd rather talk about the growth mindset, because a picture like this, I think, illustrates that idea of it's okay to do it for a certain amount of time and then leave it. So that was like 1 minute, and then I spent 5 minutes doing this, and it kind of looks like it could work. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I can do some of the shading here. I feel like sketch pages like this are kind of good in that way, because these characters, they kind of live in the imagination somewhere. And so I'm wanting to discover them. Also, you can look up reference. So like this right here was from the scribbles from the other day. I'll just kind of do this maybe. So that's 5 minutes. And to kind of wrap it up, so for example, if I were going to look up reference, I might look up like a scarf or like trench coats, like fashion type stuff. I mean, there's always fashion involved because of the costume. But yeah, just to kind of wrap up this video and to sort of talk about the rendering, like detailing part is really like creative, but it's really not that difficult, in the sense that like the next part, it takes some thought. So the detailing part to do this is not really a verbal kind of thing. It's more like a visual kind of thing. But like once you have this is kind of the more of the logical, like the proportion and like how to draw the hand and stuff like that. And like the composition, like a collage as I call it. Kind of like this. Like this was from the proportion of this character. So in the next step, and just mainly to wrap up, and yeah, I'm not going to use a timer because you don't have to. That's just like just kind of a trick that you can use. So in this next part, I'm going to shade this, but it's not detail, because this is like detail. Like I would call this detailed. Like if someone showed me this, I would think, okay, well that's like a detailed either sketch or drawing or something. This I look at as a sketch. Like that's what this is. And it's not really a thumbnail because it's bigger than a thumbnail. And then here, I wouldn't call this detailed, like what I'm doing right here. I would call it shading. Maybe I'm sketching, but like I'm shading it and being sketchy about it. But like I'm drawing it in a way, so I'm keeping in mind that it's going to be sketchy even if I detail it kind of like this. Like it's a detailed but like sketchy style. I'm just gonna start to detail this part. So I know that it's already gonna be like kind of sketchy anyway, just because I used the pen to like sketch that out. So I can begin to shade some things kind of like this. And that can also be part of like the sketch. Like the look of it, so kind of like this. as I'm looking at this, it looks like that's basically the hand. I might need to look up some reference for it, but maybe not. And maybe it'll just be, so even if I shade it, I'm gonna give myself some room to make it look more like this if I need to. I mean, that's just like one way. It could also just be, let's say, drawn like line weight. Like that's not a bad look either. Like right here, where I don't do like the cross hatching. Now I might need to clean up some things, so because of the pen. I mean, this could turn into like special effects and just use shading to kind of clean that up. But I wouldn't force it because there's just different stages. This looks more detailed than that, but then this looks more detailed than that one. Yeah, and just like with the special effect, like I didn't know what the magic power would look like, but that could work. And yeah, I might not cross hatch everything. I kind of like the more open look here. But that just comes down to seeing the, like, maybe instead of cross hatching, I'll just go with like thicker lines for the shadow. And everywhere that I shade, I'll just make it dark. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I want to thank you for joining me for our daily sketching routine. And if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep on sketching.